This presentation will show how machine-ready blanks can help shops add processes and material sourcing designed to help them be more competitive and profitable, effectively increasing throughput while reducing waste and overall costs. TCI Precision Metals is in Gardena, California, where we have 105,000 square feet of warehouse and manufacturing space, and we've been around for 55 years. We are a third-generation family-owned business. Although we are recognized as a direct-to-mill distributor, we are not in the business of what we call straight distribution, providing raw stock with no value added. This slide depicts how we traditionally think about how shops are run, with the assumed goal of satisfying customers' needs and helping solve their problems. We call it the time-honored batch and queue system. It's a pretty normal way to do business. Most machine shops reasonably consider their core competency is machining, and most shops continue the time-honored practice of purchasing raw materials oversized at the beginning of the cycle. When the raw stock arrives, if it hasn't been drop-shipped to a heat treater or grinding shop for a first op, it is either staged for the prep work necessary to finish machine, or it is machined to size as part of the finish machining process. Typically, there are other outside processing ops that need to be performed that are not part of the shop's core competencies. In the end, batch and queue does not serve our customers' interests as it slows down the pipeline of finished parts to them. There is a better way to increase the velocity of parts on the shop floor. This slide shows a different way of getting to the important work of providing your customer with a finished machined component. The blue circle in the lower left depicts the traditional method of job planning and buying raw stock. With incoming raw stock, material either needs to be prepped prior to finished machining or is machined one part at a time as part of the finished machining process. Either way, it's more time consuming and more costly than it needs to be. Never mind that it uses up valuable time on a CNC machine. The alternative, as shown in the rectangular box to the right, brings materials to the machine actually ready to finish machine, a better use of a machining center's value. The machine-ready blanks arrive to your exact specifications: close tolerance, flat, square, and parallel, with a good surface finish. In-house machining time is reduced. Better yet, it was all done ahead of time while your machine was working on the previous job. Now that is becoming more lean. The results? Faster throughput in the shop floor. It creates more time available for taking in more work. Less WIP inventory since the machine-ready blanks go directly into finished machining production. A shorter AP cycle, a quicker invoice to your customer, accelerated payment to you. The following are 3 examples. In our first example, here's a job machined from raw stock. It's about 1/8 of an inch oversized in all directions with enough stock to clean up. In our example, the prep time or time in the shop's CNC program to face all sides of the part while machining runs over 11 minutes. There are 15 minutes in the part to load, unload, and change clamps or fixtures. The finished machining time runs almost 55 minutes for a total of 81 minutes per part. By the way, this example is not hypothetical. It is an actual part that was produced. When we supplied a machine-ready blank instead, here was the first result. The part was ordered to the customer's exact specifications with a plus or minus 0.001 inch tolerance on the thickness and a plus or minus 0.002 inches tolerance on width and length, and a flatness within 0.002 inches. The customer ordered to his exact net specs with a very reasonable tolerance on all 3 dimensions. With very reasonable tolerances on all 3 dimensions. The tolerances spec'd were closer than print requirements. The parts arrived vacuum packaged, clean, and with no oil or chips, ready to finish machine. The CNC operators were able to load parts with no fixture or tool offsets. So the customer had no lag time between receiving the parts and getting them into finished machining. That made his CNC program leaner. Finally, after the finished machining operations were complete, here was the end result. Now the part depicted on the right is a very simplistic version of the actual part. The finished part required 3 machining ops and it required 25 tools. With no prep time and no unnecessary operator intervention and no unnecessary operator changes, clamps, or fixtures, the total runtime of the part in his shop was reduced to just under 55 minutes. There was a better machine utilization and better throughput, and more shipped out the back door in less time. The trade-off was paying a bit more for a machine-ready blank, while paying $30 more for the blanks over the cost of raw stock. $40 per part in machine time was saved, a net savings in hard costs of $10 per part, or $1,000 over 100 pieces. On top of that, the increase in throughput freed up 43 hours of machine time and created more shop capacity and the ability to take on more work with no increase in payroll. So the entire savings on this job, assuming that another job is coming in right behind it, allows the shop to essentially increase capacity for more work on that machine by 1 full week. Here's another example. The part shown in the box on the right can almost be any size you'd like it to be. When ordered as rectangular raw stock, either batch and queue prep work will be required prior to finish machining, or the faces and features will be added to the cycle time of the finished part. Either way, more time is being spent than necessary. It's an inefficient use of an operator's time, and the machining cycle is longer than it needs to be. With our duplex milling specialty, we can machine all 6 sides of the rectangular machine-ready blank in 3 cuts with 3 quick setups. The opposing steps can be milled at the same time in 1 setup. In a typical shop, again, the part either has prep work prior to finish machining, or the faces are machined 1 at a time in the finished machining cycle, and of course the notches are machined 1 at a time. The savings in time and money are reflected in the reduced cost and price of the machine-ready blank. Since we are cutting at least 2 sides of the part at the same time, the machine-ready blank benefits from a cost standpoint and is more competitive than the shop using raw stock. When the machine-ready blanks arrive with additional features added, less in-house machining time is required. Better throughput means more dollars are shipped in the same amount of time, and capacity is made available for taking on more work while having no increase in payroll. And it makes the user more competitive, more profitable, or both. Finally, here's another creative example. In this application, our customer needed to machine flats on a turned spherical shape. The diameter was approximately 4 inches and the parts were about 15 inches long. Coming to TCI, the part weighed just under 50 pounds. The customer recognized that machining the flats 1 side at a time would be a very slow process. It was an unproductive use of resources, both people and equipment. Cutting 13/8 can be time-consuming and expensive. The solution? Because of our specialty in duplex milling 2 sides at a time, we reduced the cutting time to a fraction of what it would take in his shop. End costs were reduced by not having to buy additional expensive cutting tools or inserts. Throughput was increased on the customer's floor. Since our specialty as a metals service center is providing value-added blanks, we've built our business around equipment that is exclusively designed for that purpose. When you increase the velocity of parts through your shop, you ship out more product in the same period of time. When you think of velocity, think of freeing up time on the shop floor for better uses, reducing constraints that prevent you from shipping more product, identifying underutilized capacity, and putting it to better use. So first, concentrate on core competencies, finding the highest and best use of time and resources. Keep your shop doing what it does best and most efficiently. Utilize trusted suppliers such as TCI Precision Metals to help accelerate work through your shop. Using machine-ready blanks with or without specialized features is a cost-effective solution. Improve your backlog by offloading unnecessary prep work and second ops. Better productivity or throughput means increasing your shop's capacity without adding unnecessary costs such as payroll. To recap, concentrate on your core competency, which is usually close tolerance precision machining, not doing prep work. Take the purchase of raw materials to another level. Consolidate raw material purchasing, outside processing, and prep work into one function and one purchase order. There is a small premium to pay on the front end. But much more importantly, there is an operational reward on your shop floor and a financial reward on the back end by cutting costs, creating better throughput, and shipping more product. Thank you for watching. For more information or to request a quote, please use the following contact information.